Once we can get this thing, there we go. Hello, everyone. Hey, hey, hey. I see you guys dropping your hellos and good evenings in the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Super excited about you guys being here with us today. I see I see so many familiar names, but I also see a lot of names that are new. So that means we have a lot of new people that are joining us, and that's part of the community. So super excited about that. Tonight is going to be amazing. This is our very first night session for the 10-day marketing challenge. If you can hear me, let's start there. If you can hear me, if you can, I know you can't see me just yet. I know you can't see me just yet, but if you can hear me, I want you to go ahead and drop a number one in the chat. Drop a number one in the chat if you can hear me. There we go. All right. I want to make sure everything is working. I want to make sure everything is working. All right. I don't have a one just yet. There we go. All right. So that means everything is good. So let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. There we go. Hey, everybody. So thank you guys for your patience. I know we started a little bit late. Listen, we had all these meetings and things today. We doing all this creation for you guys. So it's been crazy around here. But it's going to be well worth the wait because today we have an amazing individual today. And I can say so many amazing things about this person. And we'll get into that here in a second. But first of all, for all of you guys who are new and you may be subscribed to this channel and you're like, what's going on? What you got going on, Katrina? What is this I'm seeing? Right now, you are on our live for the 10-day marketing challenge. Yes, you are here for the Never Give Up 10-day marketing challenge, which didn't exist last week. Yep, it did not exist last week. It was something that God allowed us to birth and create out of obedience over the last week. Okay. But why? I know some of you guys are like, okay, why are you doing this at the last minute? Like, what's going on? And what had happened was there were so many people that were struggling, but not just struggling and spinning their wheels. There were a lot of people that were depressed and going through it mentally, spiritually, physically, in regards to not being able to move forward in their business. And I know all too well of what that feels like. I know exactly what it feels like. I know what it feels like to want more and don't know where to go. I know what it feels like to want to do better and don't have anyone to ask. I know what it feels like to have that burning desire on the inside of you to know there's greatness on the other side or within you, or there's something bigger than you that you're supposed to be doing on this earth and you have nowhere to go. I know what that feels like. But one thing I also know, I know there's a God. Can y'all type there is a God in the chat? But there is a God, okay? There's a God. And anytime I was ready for real, I ain't talking about for play. I ain't saying, you know how you say you ready, but you're not really not ready, and you start this week and you inconsistent next week. No, when I was ready for real, and I was ready to do and be obedient to what God told me to do, He always sent the right people in my path. And one of those right people is on here today. When I tell you this person has blessed me not only as a friend, but she has blessed my life as an entrepreneur. I don't even think she understands the magnitude of what she has done in my life as an entrepreneur. Right. And so, we're going to talk about all that here in a second. But we are on day two. We are on our day two of our 10-day challenge. We've been talking about messaging, building relationships, your target audience. We've been doing all of that. But what we're going to be doing nightly for the next 9 days plus is we're going to be talking to other entrepreneurs. And these are gurus, these are industry experts, these are friends of mine, or these are individuals that have powerful stories that concern marketing. And what our goal is I want to be able to hear from them. I want you guys to be able to hear from them. And some of the things they wish they would have knew, some of the things they wish they would have done, and some of the things they wish they would have implemented in their life, in their business years prior, that they know now. Like if they had to do it all over again, if they had to do it all over again, would they do it differently? Right. And so that's what we're going to talk about. All right. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and bring my friend, an amazing entrepreneur, inventor. You guys, she is an entrepreneur. She's been an entrepreneur over a decade as well. She is the founder and creator of Inventions from Scratch, Creation Nation, Seymore Solution, all the things, right? But more importantly, she helps people bring their vision to life. She has been recognized by Forbes. She has hit the 7-figure mark in her business, and she knows exactly what she's talking about from the organic side all the way to the paid traffic side. So when it comes to marketing, when it comes to messaging, this girl is a pro, and she has helped me along the way. And I want you to go ahead and get your pens, your paper ready. But more importantly, if you got a question, go ahead and get ready to hear it straight talk, no chasing, from one of my really dear friends, Donteacia Seymore.
Hi. Hey, Katrina.
Hi.
Hey, guys. How
Hey.
y'all doing down in the chat? I told Katrina it's late for me, man. It's after my bedtime. My people, they know I'm like, we not staying up at night no more. I'd be like,
She's like,
the day,
it's late.
this is the
But she
day
loves
has
me
gone all day here. This is like the day is over here. Like the day, we have had the day. The day is ending.
Well,
Hey,
it looks good, honey. If that's
thank
what the
you.
day ending here look like, it looks real
This is
good,
the day
honey.
ending. You should have started earlier. These curls was popping at 10 a.m. Okay, popping. Hey, Lakeisha.
I
Hey,
love
Nicole.
it. I love it. So if everybody can do me a favor, I want y'all to put y'all see her name on the screen and make sure you spell it right. I want y'all to give her a welcome. I know we speak when people come in the room. So our community speaks and we show love. So what I want you to do is type in the chat, hey Donteacia. I want y'all to type and say hello to her in the chat. All right. Now, Donteacia, I wanted to
Mhm.
just, first of all, thank you again for joining us today. I know, listen, you have a lot of things going on, especially because your birthday is tomorrow. Hey, y'all, she will be. I'm not gonna say her age because I don't know if she want to say it, but she will be. Yep, there she goes. She's saying it. 44 tomorrow. So in the next 3.5 hours, 3 hours and what?
Hey,
14 minutes.
Brittany. See,
Well,
Brittany on hair. Brittany, I ain't do nothing to this hair. Brittany did this hair, y'all. Brittany, this is Brittany. Brittany Briggs on hair. She in the chat.
yeah.
See you, Britt. Don't worry, I got your tomorrow. Full face, fresh hair. Don't worry.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, well, her birthday being tomorrow, she is on here talking to us, and she is the first, you guys. But when I tell y'all just don't understand how one of the reasons why I sow a lot of times into you guys is because people like her have sown into me. There are so many times I've been stuck in my business, and God has sent her to give me something, bless me with something, and she had no clue because I never told her. Do I even really ever come to you and say I got an issue for real? For real, I probably never really say anything.
Mm-mm.
And in the midst of me desiring something or really needing something, she'll be like, hey, girl, I found this book. You can come pick it up. And that book could be the book that changed my
Yeah.
life or get me from a place of stuck to unstoppable. Okay. So it's so good to have people in your life like that. But one of the things about Donteacia I love, she has a way with marketing, a way with words, a way with messaging. But more importantly, I want to hear from you, D. What's some of the
Yeah.
things you wish you would have known about
Hmm.
marketing, about all of these things? I
Yeah.
mean, you do really well right now.
Yeah. So, hey y'all. Like, I hope y'all had a great day today. This is a really tough question. So, Katrina and I, we talk about this often because I've been in the game now for 13 years, and I've been doing on the internet marketing side for about 7 to 8 years. And I think about what my business would look like had I done these things 8 years ago. And I
Mm,
know that one of the things for sure, is building an audience, like connecting with people early on. I
mhm,
am anti Facebook group. Like, I am so like, I don't want to have a group. But even if I didn't have a group, I understand the power of people like knowing you. And I think we hear the term like know, like, and trust. And it just
mhm,
sounds really catchy. We're like, people need to know, like, and trust you. But the truth is, even now, when I do content and I run ads, paid traffic to my organic content, and then I then put an offer in front of the people who've consumed at least 5 to 10 pieces of my organic content, the conversions are just a lot better. They're a lot cheaper.
mhm,
They're better customers. They're more educated customers, which means they finish the process. They don't complain. There's no chargebacks. And so I think that if there was one thing for sure, and we're gonna talk about others, but if I had to think about like the very first thing that I wish I would have done differently, because I have a friend who started with me. Some of you all know her. Her name is Cassandra Cummings. And we started building our online businesses the way we have them today at the same time. Katrina and I started together 10 years ago with Two Fly Creators, right? And
Super
so we were
creators.
doing that, yeah. And then when we branched out of like just doing business consulting, and I started focusing on inventing, and Cassandra started focusing on stocks, she leaned heavily into the audience and the community. So now she has 100,000 people in her audience, 80,000 people on her email. And I tell her all the time, she only does organic marketing. Girl, if I had that many people, I would have like 10, 20, 30 million dollars in my account, because I'm really good at the marketing, like the offers, the higher ticket offers. So one thing I wish I would have done differently is I would have built an audience, even if it was just on my business page. And I do have quite a bit of followers on my business page, but I don't engage them often. I have some followers on my IG, but I'm just not really committed to social media and organic content today. But I'm in my 40s now, right? And so for the younger people on here, listen, it doesn't get easier as you get older, because you become very disinterested in all things online. And so it gets harder to show up online, because that's just not really your jam as much as it used to be in your 30s. And so, but to my older folks, don't get discouraged by it, because there's a lot of money out here. And there's a lot of people our age that are looking for different opportunities and ways to improve themselves, improve their lives. And they're looking for a tribe even more now than ever, because there are so many young people online. They're looking for that older population and community that they can jive with and have conversations with. Because my problems at 44 are completely different than my problems at 34. Night and day.
Listen.
These bills are
Yeah.
different. These family obligations and responsibilities are different. And so, our health is different. Our parents' health is different at this age. They deteriorate a lot faster when we're in our 40s and 50s, because they're in their 60s, 70s, 80s. And so like life is different in your mid 40s. So if you're younger, listen, give it everything you have. Don't worry about it. If you're older, there are people looking for communities of like-minded individuals. So first thing I would do differently is I would have figured out how to build a community that was comfortable to me, versus just quitting on that because I didn't want to show up on Facebook in the group. So I would have
Well, I'm
found
glad
something
you said
that
that.
worked.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
so glad you said that, because APs, if she is literally talking about what day 2 was, and she didn't know what we talked about on day 2, me and her have not discussed what day 2 was all about. What was day 2 about, you guys? Finding your true fans, finding your tribe, finding your people. So it's so crazy that your very first point is what our topic was for today. So what you
Yeah.
did was validated today's lesson. And so what they're doing now, we went over true fans, finding your people. We used the similarities of the beehive, you know, how Beyonce got her tribe and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. And what they're even doing is trying to figure out what are they going to name their people. When you get your tribe, when you start building your community, what are your people's names going to be? So for you to say that
So
is
Katrina, I want to say you're exceptional at communities. Like you're exceptional at communities, branding communities, naming them, giving them family names, group names, street names, all the names. You are like exceptional at it. Like you and Cassandra, like man, y'all are like geniuses at groups and communities. And so I think that you guys are in the presence of someone who knows how to build a community, who understands the value of tribes and true fans. Like this stuff is priceless. I tell Katrina all the time, she's led by the Lord, and she'll just wake up one morning and say, I had a dream and I'm gonna launch this thing. And the next thing you know, she got 200 people signed up. I don't care how many people on my list. Donteacia has never woke up and said, I want to do something and 200 people signed up in the same day. That has never happened because I haven't nurtured my people the way she nurtures her community and her tribe. Right now, I will say the upside to the people who are my tribe, those relationships I have built with my customers, my already customers, is they come back over and over and over again because we worship, like our customers are our people. And so our tribe is on the other side of the paywall. And I really wish we had done a better job of having it on the free side, organic side. to really strengthen those relationships, because I feel like a lot of people are missing out on amazing opportunities that we have to offer. But because they don't have a connection to me, or they don't know me because I'm not doing what I should have been doing to get in front of those people, they're missing out on fulfilling their dream. And so you also have to remember, it's your responsibility to show up for the people that are looking for you. Because if you're not showing up for the people that are looking for you, somebody's dreams are not being answered. Somebody cried themselves to sleep at night hoping that they found you. And if you're not showing up, they're still feeling desperate. They're still feeling despair. They're still feeling frustration and confusion. And so we got to kind of get out of our own way and say, well, marketing feels weird. It feels icky. I feel like I'm selling to people and that just feels sleazy. It's like you are some people's last dying hope. And they won't know about you unless you market yourself and market your services to them. And that's just
Hold on.
really,
you got to pause that. You need to rewind that. Because I really need them to understand what you just shared. Sometimes we get so much in our own feelings and we start thinking about ourselves, and we start allowing imposter syndrome to come in and take over. And I want you to say that statement. Sometimes you are what?
People's last dying hope.
I want y'all to type it in the chat.
They are literally like, I speak from experience. I get people on the phone and they're like, I don't have enough time left on this earth. I got 10, 15 years. Like, they're delusional. Some of them have a whole lot more, but they feel like they don't have enough time in the same mental capacity to accomplish certain things. And if they just can get this thing done and get this thing in place, then they will be happy with their life and how it turned out. And it's like so they're literally looking for you to fulfill the dream that they have before they die.
Yeah.
Like before, and I'm not exaggerating, guys. I don't mean die before they leave this earth. There is something they need and something they want to do, and before they leave, they want to do that thing. And for some of you, you are that person's last chance to do that and to have that. And you can't be out here like, well, I don't want people judging me. Man, Katrina's a Christian, so I'm gonna not say what I want to say.
No, she did. No, she did.
I was about to like we talk about the kids.
Bump them people.
Bump them people, man. Listen, they're not out here doing the good work. You're doing the good work, and you got to show up for them. So that's what that's the number one thing I would do differently, is I really would find the way. It may not still be a Facebook group, but I would have found a way to build that tribe and that connection that felt comfortable for me. Like that, I feel like that's the biggest missed opportunity I have.
That's good. That's good. I want to do like a B clause to that, because one of the things I do appreciate, I have appreciated about you over the years, was that no matter what, you always found things that did align with you, right? So it's almost like you knew yourself. So you were quick to say, hey, I'm not doing that. I'm not talking to these people. I'm not showing up in this place because I know who I am. And I believe because of that, even though you didn't do a lot of the organic, right? But you still did a lot of what aligned with you. And I believe that when people start doing that work, they can find the people that align with them, you know? And so I think a lot of your community, again, if they represent who you are, that's my opinion. Yeah. How do you feel about that?
So I think that works for the people that actually get access to me, right? Like the people who actually do find me, they're glad they found me, because I do give everything to my people. I do nurture my people. The problem is, because I didn't do enough of that, there are people who are still looking for me that haven't found me, right? That would have found me 5 years ago and may have found me before they took their last breath, and they didn't because, some stroke of life happened. And so I feel like there, not just financially, there was a missed opportunity. There was a missed opportunity for me to serve as well, because I was hiding in my discomfort. Like, that's really what it was. It's like I was uncomfortable. I didn't like doing it. And so it gave me an excuse to continue to play small, and to not be so visible that people would judge me and that people would have an opinion about what I was doing, because I didn't always have my life together. I didn't, I had a kid young. I didn't have a lot of money when I was young. And so I struggled for a lot. And people like to freeze you in time in a place that's most comfortable for them. It can be
Mm.
15 years removed from where you are and what you're doing now, but people will freeze you in time at your most vulnerable state.
Mhm.
And that's who they'll remember you as. And the
Yeah.
minute you start to step out of that, they'll be like, the audacity. And I was so concerned about people talking about my audacity that I allowed myself to hide in my discomfort because
Oof.
that was more important to me than actually showing up and serving the way I should have been serving all of this time.
Now that was heavy because I know so many people are feeling like that right now. And just even hearing you say that, it literally has taken me back to a place. What I remember, I felt that way. I remember
Mhm,
what 4 or 5 years ago when I said, you know what? Like you said, bump everybody, bump all of these
mhm,
people. I have to do what's best for me. I have to
mhm.
get out of my comfort zone and I have to do, and I got to serve my people. I don't care what nobody says. So now at this point, because people be like, I can't believe she's doing a 10-day challenge for free. Well, it ain't for you. It ain't about you. And I really don't care what you say. Because anytime I'm obedient, anytime I am doing what God has told me to do, I don't have to worry about nothing. Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to have to worry about is if I don't be obedient because you think that I'm crazy for doing a 10-day challenge for free, then
Mhm.
I'm be looking crazy for real. You got what I'm saying? So how did you get out of that space? Like how did you say, I'm going to stop living for these people and I'm going to live for myself? How did you get out of that comfort zone?
Mhm. So community, like proximity, right? And so I was invited to a group of phenomenal Black internet marketers, and they showed me what was possible.
Mm.
And once I began to see what was possible, that began to kind of push me into a new place. And it also reframed how I felt about showing up online. And it was more about the serving than it was, the receiving. And so
There
I
you
think
go.
that proximity changed me. It just made me feel like, okay, this is going to be okay if I get out there. Now, I still chose paid traffic over organic traffic. So I just never got the organic marketing thing down. And it's not because I'm not good on camera. As you all know, I'm very comfortable on camera. Y'all can see here. It's a blockage I've had until recently. To where I didn't know what to say, how to say it, or I started saying it and I felt like no one was watching. That's actually was the last point I was going to make. So I'll save that. But I think it was just the proximity to others, like seeing others be so successful and seeing others serve and help people and literally save people.
Mm.
Save people. I've gone to Katrina's event. Oh my God. I've gone to the event, to the experience, and like people's lives were, I mean, and I know this is personal to Katrina, but I feel like we saved her daughter's life at one live event.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see that
Yeah.
kind of impact up close and personal,
Mm-hmm.
like you can't forget that again. You can't forget
Yeah.
that when you see how one person has an impact in such a short notice, because you planned that event, you decided like the week before, 2 weeks before, we're gonna have
Yeah.
an
It was
event at the
like,
end of this. We're gonna have an event at the end of this. And
yeah.
it was 2020, so we're still in the thick of the pandemic, no vaccines out,
Yep.
right? 3 years
200
ago.
people, 200 people flew in from all over for an event in middle of COVID. COVID, we started shutting down what, February, March? This was October. And y'all know how it was in October, just 6 months later. And people came in
Mhm.
from all over to worship with us, to
Lives
worship with us.
were changed. And
Now
when you
watch this,
see that
D.
kind of change, mhm,
It was around this time.
it was
It
around
was
the
her
time.
birthday,
Yeah.
you guys. It was her
Mhm.
birthday. I dropped her off at the nail salon. When I dropped her off at the nail salon, because it was her birthday, so we were,
Yes.
spoiling her. And she's in
It
the
was
nail
the day.
salon.
It was literally today because they showed up in my stories.
Yes, and I was in the car waiting for her, boohoo
Hmm.
crying, because God had told me, He was like, "You're gonna have this event, and you're gonna have it in 2 weeks." And I'm like, "I can't have an event in 2 weeks. Ain't nobody gonna come." Like I'm having this whole entire conversation with God, and so she inside of the salon, and she's like, "Hold up, is you on live crying in the
Hmm.
car?" Well,
It was there.
I'm getting my toes done. And God literally was like, "I need you to have this event." Now watch this, because I want y'all to understand what the power of what she's saying. And so from that time, her birthday, which is this time, we had the event. in 2 weeks, which is October the 31st, it
Mhm.
was
Mhm.
Halloween and the
That's
room was
Halloween.
packed on
Mhm.
Halloween. People was like,
Mhm.
bump Halloween, bump these kids coming here with us. And we worship God together. And what
Mhm.
happened was, I didn't know my daughter was coming. And
Mhm.
one of the pastors got up and said, I know she wants me to do the call to worship, to see salvation and see if anyone needs to be saved. But I honestly believe that somebody here is dealing with the spirit of suicide.
Mhm.
And as soon as he said that, my daughter and two other young ladies walked up to the front. And when I tell y'all, I just lost it.
Broke
I
down.
just lost it. I'm about to get emotional now thinking about it. Number one, I
You
didn't know
broke
my
down.
daughter was coming. But number two, I didn't have any clue that she was dealing with suicide. And so at that
Last
moment,
dying hope.
listen, y'all,
Last dying hope.
listen,
You are
imagine
your
if I
own
wouldn't have had it.
child's last dying hope.
Watch this. If I wouldn't have had that
Real.
event, what could have happened? You got what I'm saying? So my obedience wasn't just for the people that attended. My obedience was also for somebody I love dearly,
For
my own
you.
child.
For you. I mean, and
I was,
y'all, oh,
listen,
that's so. Listen, there are things that we are keeping from ourselves in our disobedience. There is a life that we are keeping from ourselves and our disobedience. I'm telling you, y'all, like, and I know this is a marketing conversation, but it's all connected. It is not by
it's all
coincidence
connected.
that something
Yeah.
is placed on you to do something to have an impact on others. That is for a reason. That is with reason. I never would have thought I was going to be an inventor and teaching about inventions because it's not what I was trained
Mhm.
on. But I know so many people whose lives I've changed, whose
Yeah.
lives I've touched, whose lives I've added meaning and value to, who feel fuller and happier as people. And I think we got to stop running from what's called for us, because when I say last dying hope, I don't say that to like be extra. Like, I've gone to the places, the conferences where people spent their last $50, their last $500 to be in the room because they felt like if they couldn't figure it out in that room, they were going to take their lives when they got back home. They were
Mhm.
in a seat of depression, and if they couldn't figure it out in that room, how to make more money for themselves and their family, how to fix their marriage, how to whatever it is, if they couldn't fix that, they couldn't find reason to continue living on this earth. I know people who have taken their lives because they just couldn't find the reason to keep going. And for some of you, you are going to be that person's reason. I mean, it's just
That's
that
right.
simple. It is just that simple.
That,
You know, there's money connected to it. There's legacy and future and financial freedom and all of the other good stuff that we get to experience as a result of our obedience. But it's when it's about
mhm.
service, it's so much deeper, and that community has so much more meaning when you look at it from that regard. So here's the thing, Katrina. It's only when I'm talking to you and your people I get into preacher mode. If I was talking to anybody else, this thing would be a black and white marketing conversation. Okay.
Mhm. She'll be so matter of fact, y'all. So matter of fact. Now she,
Yeah,
so pulling her Sarah jokes out.
black and white conversation. But it's
Yeah.
real. It's real.
But it definitely is real. And I always tell people, life in your business is not separate. It's not
Hmm.
separate. It all is relevant.
Hmm.
And that's why I stop caring what people say. The way God blesses me and the way God uses me is not how it's not orthodox, right? It's not how people normally see things being done. And
Yeah.
I had to come to terms with that because again, like Donteacia said, we're part of an amazing organization of entrepreneurs and not network marketers, but digital marketers and things like that. And there's a way a lot of people do things. But what happens is when you are set apart, a lot of times what you're doing is not going to look like everybody else. So at that
Hmm.
point, when I became also a part of that organization, I struggled with, should I do things this way? Should I do things that way? Now, yes, some things I should be doing a certain type of way, but I also had to remember who God created me to be. And that's what I want you guys to remember, who God created you to be. Oh God, I'm getting
Your
emotional.
anointing, your anointing is your own. Own it.
Yeah.
Because while
Yeah.
Katrina was trying to be like me and Cassandra and Sharesh and Sam and everyone else, she was struggling. The minute
Mhm.
that Katrina stepped into Katrina, the
Mhm.
floodgates open. Doing it like she do, not like I do, not like anyone else does, but like she do. That's when that thing started taking off for her. It's when she
Yeah.
stepped into her anointing.
And I remember one of the first things, and when you were there, you saw it, you was like, and my friend, y'all, she don't get impressed easily. Okay. So it's not that you downplay things, but a lot of stuff's not gonna impress her like that, you know. She knows quality, she knows truth, she knows realness, she don't deal with fake stuff, okay? And that's why I love her. So when something moves and touches her, oh, you know
Mhm.
that thing is real. And the whole entire time she was blown away. She was speechless.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, if you speechless, God really did his thing today. You hear me?
Legit. Hands down. Hands down.
Yeah,
Hands down.
yeah. So I just want to thank you for that. You just gave me a lot of reminders just in that conversation. Um, but one of the things I do want you to talk about, if you don't mind,
Mhm.
is the power of communication, the
Yeah.
power of clarity in sharing your story.
Mhm.
Um, One of the things that I remember always draw me to you, even back in the day when we, first start hanging out, was the way that you told stories. And I
Mhm.
don't think people understand the power of story. So that's going to be one
Yeah.
of the topics that we
Good.
talk about during our challenge. We have to, because people don't understand that their story is true marketing.
Yep. 100%.
So, and that's y'all just don't understand. When I first met her, when I tell you the way this girl told a story, it was like a whole soap opera, and I
So
was
I
tuned in
read
for it.
to write a blog that was a soap opera. So that is why. So I've always enjoyed stories. It's funny because I actually grew up, for those of you guys in Jacksonville, I actually grew up in the Blodgett homes before they tore them down. So when I say I'm from the hood, I'm from the projects, I'm from the projects. All right. So I grew up in the Blodgett homes, and there used to be, y'all remember when the guys used to walk around and sell like encyclopedias and the Aesop fables, like all the books that can go in your
Mhm.
house so you can kind of read and learn. My mom made real sacrifices because we clearly didn't have money, in making sure we had the encyclopedias and to make sure that we had all of those like Aesop fables and all of those stories. And it was reading those books, honestly, that allowed me to kind of escape what was happening outside the doors. And I just fell in love with stories, just magical, intricate stories. And so I realized that whenever I was outside or I was, playing or hanging out with the kids, I sounded very different at the time. We came in from Louisiana, so I didn't sound like most of the kids that I was around. And so they used to pick at me. And then when I would start telling them stories, they would stop picking at me. They would like listen. They were kinder, they were gentler. And so I just kind of got into the habit of talking in a way that enticed and made people feel as if they were with me on the journey. So it looks like we lost Katrina. She'll be back. And so I realized at a very early age the power of story. And as I kind of got into marketing, or not even marketing, guys, my background is actually in politics. So I learned as I continued to matriculate and go to college that storytelling was an art. And that's how most things happen in this world, is through a good story. Think about everything politicians say. Think about everything preachers and pastors say. Think about everything that has moved you to action, that has inspired you. It's all about storytelling. The TV that we watch, even the news, even the way they tell stories on news is to keep you kind of watching and keep you going. So storytelling is such an important thing and an important part of your business if you want to be successful. And so I remember when we first started, me and Katrina, she's back on now. When we first started trying to be internet marketers,
Wait
it was
a
when Periscope
minute,
was
why you
out.
saying like that?
It was
What
when
you said?
Periscope was out, right? And Periscope was like the first real streaming platform for like one-way communication. And I was like, I feel so silly because I'm just talking to the screen and I'm just sharing these tips. And I'm just like, here's how you do this thing. Here's how you do this thing. But I wasn't telling any stories because I was like, this feels weird. I need people, and I need instant feedback, like a feedback loop to know if the story is working. And it was so strange because I was like, I'm telling a story to a screen. It didn't make any sense. And so I quit Periscope. I was like, man, this ain't it. Like, this ain't working for me. I feel really weird just talking and teaching to this thing. And then I was looking at like Tiffany Montgomery and all of these people, and they were like blowing up. And what was the chick that was like her rich friends, Nicole Waters, and like all of these people, because they were all at the same time.
We were doing all at the same time. So we were like, well,
all at the same time. Everybody was just
doing what they're doing.
Right. But they were telling stories.
That's all
like
it was.
They were sharing stories. They would hide the nuggets and the wisdom and the business in the stories. And it was by me watching other people build these larger audiences organically. I was like, man, they're just winning by telling a story. So I was like, let me run a paid traffic, because I'm still like paid traffic. I want to run some ads. And the first ad,
let's talk real quick for that, because we have a lot of new people. So I wanted y'all, just for those who don't know what she means by paid traffic and organic traffic. Organic traffic is for those of you who are promoting your social media pages. You're not putting no money behind anything. You're just showing up, you're posting content. You may be emailing people, but again, it is what we call more so organic, right? Is you manually communicating and connecting with your audience. Paid traffic is if you're running Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, or you have an agency that is helping you push your content in front of individuals. So that's what she means by that, and the difference between what we do. I just wanted to make sure y'all understood that.
Yeah. So what she just said, I was gonna see if I can pull it up in time, but she's finished talking already. So I decided I was gonna run paid traffic to Facebook ads, and in order for me to do that right, I needed to tell a story. Like, that is the one thing I learned. I was like, I need to tell a story, and it needs to be good if I'm gonna get people's attention. And I started it off because, you know, people read the first few lines of a Facebook ad before they decide whether or not they're going to continue reading the ads, or if they were just going to be like, nah, I'm good. This ain't for me. And so the very first line of my Facebook ad was, I remember feeling physically ill. Like, that was the first line.
I remember that one.
It's still to this day, best performing ad copy. I remember feeling physically ill. I was 86 days into a 90-day trial period of a new contract, and I could not go on. At this point, people are like, girl, what's happening? You know, just 3 months prior. And it's like, but on this day, I couldn't get out of bed. So what happened? I feel trapped, suffocated, and tired. I'm paraphrasing, right? I'm kind of skipping over a lot of stuff. I've been working on this project for 4 months. The problem is it requires so much of my time. What's more important than feeding the kids? Feeding my soul. The pivot starts, right? I remember that without me feeding myself, the thing that keeps me going, I can no longer be great at what I've been great at. So it's a long ad, but that's just kind of like highlights from it. And those human moments that are kind of navigated throughout that story, is that ad has brought me in easily over $2 million. That one story has $2 million.
$2 million from that one story.
One story.
But I want y'all to type in the chat. I will become a master storyteller. I will become a master storyteller. And she know I wasn't good at telling stories, so she is well aware.
I used to rewrite it. She used to send it to me.
Rewrite my stories. Did I say this right? And she was like, She used to rewrite my emails for me. And I got sick of it. Okay. I got sick of it. Yeah. When I say I used to read every book, I started learning copy for myself. And I used to start sending stuff to her. And she was like, oh, okay. And
I was like, who wrote that, Katrina? He was like, I wrote it. I was like, I see you. That looks good.
And it was one time when she called and she was like, who wrote that for you? I was like, I did it.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to be able to learn how to tell your story. And if you think that your story does not matter and that you can just go over and just breeze over all of this, then you really don't want to know how to market your business properly. Like I told you guys yesterday, I believe, that even the big brands have a story. If you go on KFC website right now, you're going to see a story about in 1953, in my grandfather's kitchen. You know, they're going to tell you a story. There's a story behind every single thing. it's just sometimes it's not easily recognizable to you because you're so used to the brand doing what the brand does. So it speaks for itself. But they started out with a story, right? And
We
so,
remember stories. More importantly, we remember them. We remember
yeah.
story because they're human moments that connect us together. And like, you know, you hear all the older people saying, I used to walk 8 miles to school in the snow with no shoes on and no jacket. Like, it was always the story that just made like, what you talking about? Like, so those
Mhm.
stories, they connect us as humans because, y'all ready? Humans like a story. We
Mhm.
create stories about stuff that's not even happening in our life. Stories run us, they rule us. We
Yeah.
create narratives and stories about things that haven't happened, that might happen, that might not happen. And those
Mhm.
stories actually stop us from doing the things that we want to do because we create these stories. We literally cannot exist without a story. So if you have to write a story, write a good one. Write
Yeah.
one that actually works out in your favor. Don't write one where you're going to fail and such is going to talk about you. Write the story that makes you the hero.
Yeah.
Like, because you're going to write one anyway. Why not write a good one where you come out winning?
But I always stick to something that you told me when it comes to, because one thing about it, y'all, we're not writing no fake stories now. Okay. And so what we mean by that, our brand exudes who we truly are. We can stand on the stories that we tell and we create. And so for those who are connected to me, we don't lie about nothing. You already know we are not fake in our communities. We're going to show up as our true authentic self. And you're going to develop your story based on the work that you are doing and you figuring out what that looks like. But one of the things is two things when you talk about the why, like if your why is not moving, that story, your why story, like where you come from, is not moving, then
Yeah.
absolutely not, you know.
You got to tap
But
into the emotion. So one of the biggest important things about storytelling is the emotion. Like you want people to feel it and you want them to feel it in their own lives, right? And the truth is that as humans, we're all the same at our core. We all want the same thing. We want to be able to take care of our families, provide for ourselves, live happy and healthy lives. That shows up at different levels of financial success, but at our core, we all want the same thing. And so that comes across in a story regardless of income level, because even rich people struggle with their
that's true.
lives. They struggle, they have emotional struggles. They may not have money struggles, they may have relationship struggles. They may have addiction. They may have struggles that show up in other places. And so at our core, we all have something that we are struggling with, and your story can connect to them at a visceral level to where it's like they're just naturally reacting. That ad has thousands of comments on it. It has like 14,000 likes, thousands of comments, and all of them are like, girl, that's been me. I remember wanting to quit this damn job too. I remember like wanting to give, to these people, and I just had nothing left to give to myself. And I've had this dream and it's keeping me up at night. And, like it, because this is what so many of us feel. And so
Yeah.
if you can find a way to take your story and you can relate to the people who are like you in your situation, right? Because you're not talking to people who you can't help because you've been through it. So you already know what they're struggling with. And you already know
Mhm.
what piece of your story is going to connect to them because it was what was struggling for you. It was what was paining you. So what were you struggling with to become who you are today? And then how can they get there? Right? Like how
Yeah.
can they tap into your wisdom and your knowledge and join your tribe?
And that's why when you try to be perfect, because I know some of you guys love trying to be perfect, checking off the boxes, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, that you're not getting a lot of feedback because nobody can relate to a perfect person. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, there are so many people that's going through. And when you are real and vulnerable and transparent about where you are, you then find the people that can relate to you. And it's extremely important for your growth and theirs.
Yeah.
Listen, it remind me of a time, D. You got me thinking about stories. Listen, this is gonna be the last story I say, I promise. Because you remember when we was in LA?
I knew you was gonna bring that up. I was waiting on it.
Y'all, we went to an intensive in LA
On storytelling.
on storytelling, right? So we went to intensive. So this is how important it is, you guys. We invested, went to LA for a week to
Mhm.
just make sure we develop our skills and sharpen our skills because we wanted to make sure that we were showing up as our best self and being able to communicate effortlessly and easily with our audience.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all listen. I'm gonna let you tell the story, but y'all, your girl was there. They asked me about my story, and I was just saying, "Oh yeah, this is my
Yeah,
story."
yeah. Katrina was scared. She was scared. She was like, she was giving us like the chronological sequence of events, and we were like, "Girl, that's not the story. Like, what's the story?" I was broke. I was a teen mother. Like, but it wasn't like I was a teen mother and this happened and this happened. It was I was hiding the crack pipes because I didn't want this. And it was like the real visceral stuff that makes you cry, because
Yeah,
those are the things that make they shape who you are.
yeah,
And it's because she wanted so badly to not be like that, to not experience
yeah.
that. As an adult, she became who she is today. It's those real moments in our life that shape us. And it's the same for
Mhm.
others as well. And so your moments can shape someone else.
But
Those
I think
moments.
too, though, what it was, do you remember for me, what it was, I knew my story and I knew
Mm-hmm,
what I went through, right? And so I
mm-hmm,
didn't have a problem sharing it. Y'all always have heard my stories. The
mm-hmm.
point was, I didn't allow myself to feel.
Yeah.
So what was going on? They was asking my story, and I was like, "Oh,
Just
I used
talking.
to hide crack pipes at the age of 8. I stopped somebody from committing suicide at 10. I had a baby. This,
You were like, girl, that
um,
is not normal. Like you,
and
so you
and he
supposed to
was
feel.
like, you saying all this like it was a good thing, right? And so I was
Mm-hmm,
like, and I didn't understand. Watch this. I didn't understand what they were saying because
mm-hmm,
I always compartmentalized what I was feeling. I felt like I didn't have a chance to feel anything. So when things happened to me,
mm-hmm,
I always said, you know what? Well, I don't have time to be mad. I don't have time to be sad. You get 3 minutes and you keep it moving, Katrina. So yeah, those things happen, and I didn't have a problem sharing those things, but I never
mm-hmm.
gave myself a chance to
Vulnerable.
feel and heal
Yeah.
and deal. So they were saying, I remember Tiffany saying to me, she was like, "You telling that story like it was all good though, like you was telling like it was a happy ending." You was,
Mm-hmm.
I remember, I don't know which one of you guys said this. One of you guys said, "You telling the story like, yeah, somebody just kidnapped my child, but hey, we'll hope that
John said that.
we hope they bring her back and keep on going about your business." But
Yeah.
something amazing happened. It wasn't amazing for me at the time. Do you remember right after that, we had a breakthrough? We started having breakthrough moments.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, you guys, I'm gonna be back. It's time for me to go serve my audience. Come on.
We were like, we don't cancel this shit, cancel this audience.
Listen, y'all, that's how dedicated I am. Watch this. I'm in LA for an intensive, and I had a cohort going at the time. And so I was like, I'll be back. It's time for me to go on live and talk to my audience. And it was like, can't you just cancel it? And I'm like, no, because I told my audience, I told my APs, I told my neighbors that I was going live today. So I'm going live
Mhm.
today. And they was like, but can't you cancel it? Can't you get your assistant to do it for you? And I'm like, no. And so I was like, okay, okay. So I went outside and I called my assistant. I was like, hey, are you able to go live for me today? Because, I'm in intensive, da da da. And she was like, no, I'm getting on the plane. I'm about to fly out. So I came back and I was like, my assistant can't do it either. So I got to go live. And you was like, but Katrina, this is D, right? Donteacia, right? She was like, but you're in the middle of a breakthrough. You really can't reschedule this thing. And what happened?
Mhm.
How did I go off? How did I go off on y'all?
I don't remember. I just remember like you being very upset about not being able to do your live call. Like very, very triggered. You
Yeah,
was just very
y'all, let me
upset.
tell you. Y'all, I went off on them. Now, watch this. They asked me about my story. I'm around here talking about hiding crack pipes, being lost, being on food stamps, not having
Mhm.
nothing to eat. When they asked me to when I said he kept saying, can you reschedule this? We're having a breakthrough. I said, I'm sorry. That's not how we operate in our community. That's not how I do my people. Y'all may not show up for your people, but I show up for mine. I told my people I was going live, so I'm about to go live. Like, what y'all don't understand? Like, they was like, they started sitting back, they crossed their arms and stuff. Like, oh, okay. Because I went off. I'm like, why y'all bugging me and nagging me to cancel for my people? I don't cancel on my people. Y'all, I
You
went
started crying. You started crying. You got really upset.
I got really upset because they was trying to make me cancel my live. So much so to where I had to really take a moment and
Hmm.
understand that part of my story. That was a
Mm-hmm.
part of my story, you guys. And so I'm sharing this with you guys for a reason, because a lot of you are compartmentalizing things. A lot of you have swept things up under the rug. You got a whole closet full of things that you have not dealt with. And oftentimes, those things that you have not dealt with, you're still broken and you're still bleeding from. And a lot of times, it's going to stop you from connecting with your audience. But also, if you're trying to hide that thing, it's also going to stop you from connecting with your audience, because it may be the story they need to hear. It may be that one thing they need from
Mm-hmm.
you that's going to set you apart, that's going to be the breakthrough, that's going to be, like she said, the thing that changes their life. So are you
Yeah.
going to keep holding on to it or not? But
I know that for me personally, when I was telling my story initially, I left out a lot of stuff for time reasons. And I realized that I started making more connection, even though it wasn't other people's exact experience, when I started sharing like that my car was repossessed while I was busy building my business. It was like I tell the story of my daughter going outside when I take her to school, and she goes outside and she says, "Mommy, someone has stolen the car." And I panicked, and then I realized in that moment that no one had stolen the car, that the car was repossessed. And I had to call her dad to come and get her to take her to school, which he had to do for the next couple of months while I figured that whole situation out. And I remember in that moment saying, I never want her to experience, and I never want to feel this again.
yeah,
But that was such a pivotal moment for me in my business, was the car being repossessed while I was starting my business, because everyone was telling me to stop. They're like, you got this small child, you moved into like low income housing, and now your car is being repossessed. And they were just like, why won't you stop? And I was like, because I can see it on the other side. I don't know what it looks like, but I can feel it. It's there. I've already lost enough. I just got to keep
mhm,
going.
yeah,
And, like 2 years later, we were on a plane on the way to Prague, just spent a year traveling the world because things changed. I started making money. I started doing better. I've now made millions of dollars, right? And that's all because I was like, I see it for myself. And it wasn't until I started telling that part of my story, the part where my daughter comes outside and she says, Mommy, I think someone stole the car. She's frantic. And I'm like, because she was in like 7th grade at the time. So she was old enough to know something was happening.
yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna call your dad. Right. It was when I started sharing that moment, the journey wasn't so like linear for people. They understood then that I had real challenges getting to
Mhm.
the place of millionaire. And they were like, okay, I want to learn from her, because while my car might not be getting repossessed, my lights were just turned off. Right. And so it was another thing they could relate to that was similar to having to overcome adversity to reach your dreams. And it was me sharing that part. Someone asked, like, how do you do that without sharing too much that people can judge? The only person that can judge you is God,
Come
period.
on.
The end. People are gonna
Yeah.
people, man. Let me tell you, something was said to me by someone close to me the other day because of what's going on. Like, we have some stuff going on. I've been doing some downsizing because I want to like simplify my life. And she said to me, you've had a few good years, and now you think you can tell us what to do. First of all, it's been a decade, but I've had,
Come on.
they froze me in time at a place when I was a single mother who didn't have anything, and said to me, you've had a few good years. And I was like, people are going to, it don't matter what you do. It don't matter how high up you are.
Mhm.
People are going to remember or see you how they want to see you, regardless of what you got going on. And when she said that, I was like, thank you for letting me know how you feel about me. Thank you for
Mhm.
letting me know that you feel that my success is a fluke. So as I continue to grow and rise, I know exactly what category to place you in. And
Come
it's like
on.
people are going to talk about you, man. You cannot be worried about what people think about you. You have to worry about the life that you're saving, the person that you're helping, the soul that you're delivering. You have to worry about your family that you're providing for, your children that you're putting through school and college, the courage you're giving them. That's who you got to worry about: your soul, your heart, your dreams. You cannot worry about these people out here in the street, because it does not matter how well you do. Someone is still going to see you as the broke 24-year-old begging for help and support, getting food stamps, and doing everything in your power to keep your kids off the street. That's how they're going to see you, regardless of what's happening in your life. So you cannot focus on those people, y'all. You got to focus on your dreams and yourself and your future. Because if you live where people wanted you to stay, you would never get out. You will never, ever get out. If you live
Right.
there and you stay there where they see you, you will never get out. So you cannot be worried about what they think about you when you tell your story, because it's not for them. It's for the persons whose life you're going to change.
Amen.
Only you,
Preach,
Katrina.
preacher. Preach.
Only you, Katrina. Only you. Only you.
I love it. I love this was so good. We didn't even get into all the things, but I think we got into what we needed to get into. This was so good.
There is one
Um,
thing I want to say, because I do want to leave them with this, because this is
no,
really
go
important. Like number
no.
three. Number three, I want to give y'all three things.
Listen, our
Keep,
people, we
keep,
don't mind staying on. So go ahead.
keep going, even when it looks like no one is watching. I wish I learned that lesson sooner.
Say that one
To
more
keep
time.
going, even when it looks like no one is watching. Like when your view count is low and you're like, I'm making these videos every day, I'm putting this stuff out here, I'm not getting much likes, I'm not getting many views. I'm telling you guys, those are vanity metrics, because while my list is smaller, my bank account is bigger than a lot of people I know with a blue check and 100,000 followers, and all of my bank account is bigger. You got to keep going when it looks like no one is paying attention. When other people are judging you because you only got 2 likes, you only got 10 views, because someone is in your DM asking you for your help. Someone saw it. Someone saw it and said, I want to invest in what you're selling. So just because it looks like you're not winning on the outside, it does not mean that you are not winning on the inside. So even when it feels like no one is watching, keep going, because someone is watching and someone is going to reach out to you for the good work and the consistency that you are showing up and serving and giving to them. That's the other one. If I because there have been times where I started something, I'll start, me, I'll start social media, and then 15 days later, I'm like, I'm over this. But the only reason why is because I have paid traffic running all the time, 24 hours a day. So you guys are getting me, even if I'm not showing up organically. I do need to do that more, but I'm making sure that I'm in front of people who say in their phone, I really got this idea for an invention. I really want this thing, Lord. I'm going to pop up. Mark is going to put me in front of you. They're going to put me in front of you every time, because I'm using paid traffic to do it. So that's how I'm showing up in places, multiple places all the time. But you guys got to keep going, even when it looks like no one is watching, because someone is going to see you, and you're right, someone is going to find you.
That is so good. Oh, I feel like we're doing like an Oprah Winfrey special. This is so good. So we definitely gonna have to get you back on here, even if it's not right now, because you have so much to share with people. You have so many things, because even with your story in regards to mental health in this space, and what a lot of people don't understand is that when you're a person of purpose, when you're doing something from scratch, when you define the odds, when you are standing out amongst the crowd, when you don't look like everybody else, no matter what, it still takes a toll on your mental health. And so she has a whole entire story behind that. And I definitely want some of you guys to hear that story and how she persevered through, and how she's just amazing, you guys. But huh?
I say I have my moments, but I'm surrounded by amazing people like you who hold me and carry me and lift me up when times when I can't carry myself. Like, that's important. Those friendships are dire. How many times did I call you crying this summer? How many times was I like, Katrina, it is falling apart, Katrina. Like, I just don't know what I want to do. And she's like, let's pray, let's fast, it's having those people that are important, that are going to be there to cover you when you cannot stand for yourself, when you can't find shelter. That is so important. Like, it's so, so, so incredibly important. So while you are grateful for me, I am grateful for you, because you are my most grounded and down to earth friend. And as Sam said, you're my favorite friend because of your anointing. And that's how, I'm not going to say that because I don't want my other friends to get at me. But you are for sure the one that keeps me closest to my heart. And I think that's probably the most valuable thing any friend could ever do.
I can't say nothing because I'm going to cry.
You're a crybaby. So I'm not a surprise. You're a crybaby.
I'm going to be quiet for a second and look up. But thank you. But yes, I appreciate you being our first person on today and starting us off right.
I set the bar, man, every time.
Yeah. Listen, every time. That's what we do. That's what we do,
All
friends.
right here. Come,
But
come better. That's why I challenge y'all. Come better.
yeah, I definitely want to get you back on sooner than later because
Mhm.
there's so much that you have not said that I believe was it, it will tremendously bless their life if you're open to
Mhm.
that. Would y'all
For sure.
would y'all be okay with her coming back? Let me know.
Anything for my bestie, one of my closest and dearest friends, for
Yeah.
sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, can you I know you told them you made millions, but can you also share with them what you do? Because one of the things we also talked about today and what we're going to go in tomorrow is being able to communicate who you are and what you do quickly
Yes.
without all the fluff. So can you show us what that looks like, friend?
Hey, I'm Donteacia Seymore, Chief Inventor and founder of Creation Nation. We are on an audacious goal to help 1 million inventors bring their products to life. We help people like you with amazing ideas launch their products into the marketplace.
Period. Drops mic.
And that's what we do. We just help inventors build their product. We help inventors build their products.
Okay, I do
And,
have one more thing. Listen, I do have
and
one more thing. I got one more thing, you guys. So some Lord, she has more. When I tell y'all she has more, how many of you guys ever said thought about pitching? You want to learn how to pitch your product to people, right? So
we
guess
want
what?
to do
She's
that.
the friend, y'all. She's the
Sorry.
friend that went on Shark Tank. You guys, she when I tell you she has mastered so much of the industry, she has been a contestant, made it through what almost like the final
We
phases.
we actually made it all the way, but because of some conflicts we had with sharks that were on the show, that we had done different uh what do you call those, like not conferences but like workshops with, it disqualifies you if you have any relationships with the sharks, any prior relationships. So we were disqualified because of our prior relationship. But I did a whole pitch. I knew she was going to talk about that, and I called like 50 people and practiced my pitch on the phone. I actually sent a message on Facebook. I was like, Facebook, if I got your phone number, the next 3 days I'm going to be practicing my pitch, so I'm just going to call you and I'm just going to go straight into the pitch. And man, people were like excited. They were like, Donteacia just called. And they were like typing on social media. I was just calling everyone. I was like, I'm calling everybody. And they, hello? Have you ever been running and a phone song comes on and you can't reach the phone? It was like a whole thing. It was bananas. It was bananas. It was a good time
And
though.
we were so excited, guys, because we saw her,
You're breaking up, Katrina. You're breaking up. What
go
you
through this
say?
whole experience, which is different from a lot of people. And,
Mm-hmm.
and so the witness that was like so amazing, y'all. Um,
Yeah, that was like 10 years ago. That was a very long time ago. It was 10 years ago, actually. It was
hold
exactly
up.
10
I know what's going on. Hold on. I know what's going on. Okay. But um am I still broken up?
Um, I mean, I hear your voice, but your picture is
I can't
pixelating, but
see
we're at the
anything
end
on my
now.
end.
So. Well, guys, she left you to me again. She left you to me. So, let's see. I think I saw a question come up, but she says she has more, a lot more. When you've been an entrepreneur for 12, 13 years, you got a lot of stuff to share, and not just from the business side of things, but also from the emotional side of things and the mental health challenges that come up when it comes to you building something, you being a first generation millionaire, you being the first to carry that responsibility on your back, wanting to change the future and the lives of your bloodline. There is a lot of emotional stress and anxiety that comes with that. And I think in the Black community, we're taught to just kind of pray the stress away, right? To pray the anxiety away. So we don't really deal with it like we should. And so when she talks about the mental health side of things, there's a lot of things that I learned on my personal journey with mental health that came late in life, literally like 4 years ago, that has shaped a lot about who I am as an entrepreneur and how I move and how I continue to move forward and how I want to give back in the future. So yeah. You back
Gotcha.
with us,
I can't
Trina?
wait. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, sorry about that, you guys. I don't know what happened, but listen, I fixed it. All right. I know I keep saying one last thing, but you are a master at this. And one of the things I picked up from what you shared about helping inventors
Mm-hmm.
was that you were focused. One of the things I've been talking to a lot of these individuals about over the last 2 days is picking an audience. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
we're doing a theme, right? Our theme for the challenge is they have to find somebody to get booed up with. They got to find somebody to have a relationship with. And
Mm-hmm.
that person represents, like your audience of inventors, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever that may be. Can you share just a little bit about why it's so important to have your people niche down,
Yeah.
have a focus, and not try to do
Yeah.
so many things at one time, especially when you don't have one thing that's successful?
Yeah. So for two reasons, right? One is because the messaging is too fractured. Like if you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one. Right. And like that's something that you guys got to remember when you start talking about your messaging and when you're putting your product and your services out there. If you're making it so broad and so bland, no one's going to be impacted by it. So you have to speak to people specifically. We speak typically to women, professional women in their 40s to 60s, late in their professional career, who are looking for a change, who want to become entrepreneurs, who believe their product is their way to financial freedom, or just to leave a legacy behind for their grandchildren, their children, and just want to just kind of quit, but they have some money in the bank, so they'll be good. So we have a very specific audience. And so when we talk to them, we're talking about the pain points of corporate America, about having a dream that you've been pushing down, putting others first, your kids, your grandkids, the boss, your husband, your spouse. Like we talk about things that those people suffer with specifically. So when they see our ads, like they're like, they're talking to me. Like this is the thing that I've been dealing with. Like I can't sleep at night because I've had this invention on my mind for 14 years and I feel like time is running out and I want to leave something better for my kids than what was left for me. And most of our audience is that age range and they fit in that category because that's who we talk to. When I
Mhm.
first started, though, it was really broad because any and everyone could be an inventor. And we had some bites, but the costs were super expensive. Lead costs are just higher when you're speaking to a broad audience. You can market to a broad audience and still speak to a very small group of that audience. And Facebook has gotten really good at no targeting, meaning it'll put it in front of everybody, but it's the people, the message will hit the people that you need most. There's this one, I literally just did a lesson on messaging in one of my masterminds for our inventors, right? Invention profits. And we just did the lesson on messaging. And I talked about how there's this one company, Rest Duvet or Rest Bedding, how your messaging can either attract or repel. And the very first thing that it says at the top of their ad in the photo and in the copy is, "We're not cheap." They already know who they're talking to. They know people are going to say in the comments, $300 for some sheets is ridiculous because the average person spends $50 on sheets, right? And they know that most people are not going to spend $300. They're not going to get the luxury sheets. They know that. So they only messaged people like me, because Lakeisha would tell you. Because when I told her how much my sheets cost, she was like, "Girl, I get sheets for $20 and just recycle them every month." I'm like, that's so retarded. But that's like what she said. Like, there are people who are like, "I will buy the $300 sheets because those $300 sheets are going to last me 2 years. And I'm going to buy those $300 sheets and they're going to feel amazing." They're talking to me. Like they're talking to me. And so they know that. And so they're like, "We are not cheap, but what we are is high quality cotton fabric. This, that, and the other. We're this. We are this. We are this. We are this." All the things that matter to me. And I'm like, "All right, you talking to me. That stuff don't matter to other people." Yeah, Lakeisha, we had this conversation because when she's like, "These sheets look real nice, girl. How much are these sheets?" I was like, "Well, that was $200 just for that." And she was like, "Oh, girl, I spent $20 and I'm recycling every month." And I'm like, "Girl, that is a waste of money." But a lot of people are like that. They're like, "I rather," she said, "I throw them away." She throws them away. Right. So they weren't talking to Lakeisha. And so it's important for you to be very clear and specific about who your target customer is because your messaging has to align to them. Now, I'm going to give you something I give my people. You don't just need a niche, you need a sub niche, right? So if you're targeting hairstylists, you need to target concierge hairstylists, at home hairstylists, like the people who are beginners, hair traveling hairstylists. You need to go even a step even deeper because that's where the money is. The money is like deep into the sub niche versus just the niche itself. So like I could just say I'm targeting inventors. I could say I'm targeting women inventors. I can say I'm targeting Black women inventors. What I say is I'm targeting Black women, professional corporate America inventors who want a second chance at life, who's looking for their third chapter, or they want to leave a legacy behind for their children. Those inventors will give me $20,000 to solve their problem. Regular inventors, they won't even give me $7 half the time for the toolkit, right? When I'm so broad like that. But when you niche it down and you're solving a very specific problem for a very, very specific sub niche, your prices can go up, as does your revenue. Your business is more profitable. And then if you want to trickle down those profits and serve another population at a lower level with like a $7 offer that isn't reliable, your profits aren't reliable on, then you have that freedom to do so, because you're supplementing it with these larger ticket items for those people who are your exact target customer. So, yeah.
Whew, that was good. So what I love is that, y'all, she don't know what I've been talking to you guys about, and she has validated every single point that we have spoken about over the last couple days. So thank you for that.
You for
Um,
sure.
did y'all pick up what she was putting down? If y'all picked up what she was putting down, drop some dollar signs in the chat. Let us know. Let us know if you understood what she was saying, because that's what this is about. What this is about over, again, the next 9 days, we have 8 days after this left, is you guys getting a different perspective of what marketing truly looks like. All y'all see is people telling y'all to post on Facebook 3 times a day. You know what I'm saying? Post your flyers, drop that link, tell people to buy something when you don't even have a real audience. We don't even know who your ideal client is. We, like she said, you don't even know what your niche or your sub niche is. And so that's why you're spinning your wheels. And now that you're connected to us, that should no longer be the case. And if it is, we're gonna call y'all out on your posts. Be like, girl, who you talking to? You know? And so that's what this is about. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. Donteacia, how can they find you? Let us know.
At Donteacia everywhere.
Everywhere. She's the one and
Everywhere.
only.
Even Cash App. At Donteacia everywhere. I'm just at, like, literally at Donteacia. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of it. Or, so at Donteacia or at the Chief Inventor, because I actually said I was moving away from my name to the brand, because we're bringing in some other partners and we're merging with some other people. So it's going to be at the Chief Inventor, but those pages aren't really up and running yet. But at Donteacia, at the Chief Inventor.
Gotcha, gotcha. And if you are a person who believes you have something that you want to invent, make sure that you reach out to
Well, it's
her.
the ultimate. I'll go to ultimatetoolkit.com. I actually don't answer questions. Ultimateinventortoolkit.com.
We're probably going to end that sentence a different way, but go ahead. You already said it.
I say, I'll be honest, I'm not going to reply to DMs because it just be too much, because we got ads running all the time. So Ultimate Inventor Toolkit, if you have an idea for an invention, it's $7. It literally answers every question about the invention process. I made it so I didn't have to keep repeating myself and give you in-depth information. So, and it's a low ticket item. So it's like, it doesn't cost you anything but $7 if you want to learn more about the invention process, so you can decide if you want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars before you kind of go down that road. And so, like, the goal is for you to be so smart they can't outsmart you, because that's typically what happens in the invention industry.
That's so good. Girl, you gave us so many gems today. We appreciate it. Again, we're definitely going to have you back. And if you guys haven't already, make sure you go follow her on social media. Get your $7 toolkit, even if you don't need it, buy it for somebody else. It's only $7. And I love you, girl. Thank you again for joining us today. All right.
Bye, y'all.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. So she is gone. Was today good? Y'all let me know. Was today amazing? Because listen, I'm the one hosting this thing, and it's been amazing for me. It's been amazing for me as well. So listen. There you go. Okay, there we go. We finally connected back. Let me know, what was your thoughts about today? I know we are only on day 2. We're on day 2. And my last question for you guys tonight is, let me know, have these last 2 days shifted your way of thinking or shifted your mindset in regards to what marketing truly is? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Y'all keep looking this way because y'all comments are over here as well. So that's why I keep looking left to the right. Okay. I just want to know, have the last 2 days shifted your mindset in regards to what true marketing really is? I know some of you guys knew some of these things, but you know, I just wanted to make sure that you guys stop spinning your wheels, right? And that you stop allowing yourself to go into um, a place unnecessarily, right? She says shifted, tilted, and everything else. I love it. I'm not able to get on in the morning, so I upgraded the experience tonight. That was powerful. Yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So you guys, our VIPers, you guys are going to receive another email from us tonight too, with your PDFs and things like that. So thank you guys for your patience. But for the rest of you, I will see you guys at 6 a.m. in the morning. Bye, APs.